So behind me and actually in front of me, I can see some striking purpose-built aviation training facilities. It is truly fantastic. It's state-of-the-art, it's operationally dynamic. Education, this ecosystem has turned into this big machine that is just churning massive numbers of volumes of students. Should we not be teaching the know-how?
The head, the heart, and the hand. It's aviation, it's very, very safe, and yet it's very, very unforgiving. We're transforming. We're not uploading information.
It's not about the facilities that we have, it's actually about facilitation.
The classroom training, the theoretical part of it, doesn't actually work when we get to an actual scenario.
It's a failed system, I suppose.
Let's say it's got serious limitations.
I'm particularly allergic to this one word, which is training. It's actually the last mile that counts. Welcome to the Reframe Lab, where conversations shape perspectives. When we talk about perspectives, these are designed by our experiences. And today we are at Dynamic Advanced Training, where we had a fantastic tour to try and understand how perspectives are developed with immersive learning.
Mark, so behind me and actually in front of me, I can see some striking purpose-built aviation training facilities. It is truly it's fantastic. It's state-of-the-art. It's operationally dynamic. The infrastructure is very technical. So it's signaling some real serious immersive learning. Now, the reality is there are thousands of training programs, aviation programs across the globe. The US holds, I think, roughly 40% of the market share. And actually, if we take a look at it as aviation training as part of the overall education ecosystem, we can see that education, this ecosystem has turned into this big machine that is just churning volumes, massive numbers of volumes of students through in this machine and out. But volume doesn't really equal capability. And so what I mean by capability, I'm really saying it's quality of outcome. And so the differentiator here is not about teaching the know what. It's should we not be teaching the know how? So being able to perform under unpredictable circumstances, making judgment under pressure, understanding our qualities and contextual decision making. So I suppose my question here, and you, Mark, have claimed that your training facility is the best in the world. But how do you measure impact in real terms? And what is behind these capabilities that you're building?
Good evening. My name is Mark Kammer. I am a co-founder of Dynamic Advanced Training. I'm the operations director. We are a safety and emergency procedure training academy located in Dubai at Al Maktoum International Airport, Mohammed bin Rashid Aerospace Hub. We are independent and have been operational now for 5.5 years.
So how do you build these capabilities and how do you measure impact in real terms?
So I think, first of all, we need to look at we as humans actually do learn. If we look at Dynamics model, we have a 3H model: the head, the heart, and the hand. So the head part, which is the knowledge part, on its own, it's fragile because you need to be able to do something with it. The heart is required because you need to experience, you need to feel the information. Yeah, motion systems, as an example, you need to feel this information so you can translate it into a concept for yourself to understand in a scenario. With all the possible, you mentioned it's dynamic. It can be changing, ever-changing information, ever-changing circumstances. You have to. So the second part is the heart, where you can feel the information, and the third part is the hand, which is basically where you solidify the model, where you carry out what the knowledge part of it actually tells you. But all three of them are necessary. So head, heart, and hand, all three components are required to make the correct to carry out the correct actions. Only knowledge doesn't help. You need the information because you have to be emotionally engaged, or you will be emotionally engaged with it, or you may be stressed, or you may be under whatever it is, and you need to be able to understand from your training environment, from a hand perspective, with muscle memory, how to be able to carry out something under extreme pressure in an actual emergency scenario, which could happen at any time without any pre-warning. I mean, it's aviation. It's very, very safe, and yet it's very, very unforgiving.
So when it comes to aviation training providers, roughly 40% of these providers are incorporating augmented reality and virtual reality. Now, I mean, I can see this is state-of-the-art facility, and you also claim you're a state-of-the-art facility. But how can you make that claim when you're not incorporating state-of-the-art technology?
I think our philosophy is quite the opposite of that. I'm not claiming that virtual reality or augmented reality is wrong. But at the end of the day, it's a tool, and the tool needs to serve a purpose. You need to be able to, you have to be able to achieve your aims and objectives with it. For us, the desired training outcome is proficiency. We don't use virtual reality or augmented reality because we believe that in a scenario-based environment, which has all the sensory inputs, you achieve the best outcomes. For us, just because it's cutting edge technology doesn't necessarily translate into us wanting to use it. I'm not saying we'll never use it, but as yet, I've not seen any haptic feedback in virtual reality. I've not seen, I mean, when we get to the level of Star Trek's holodeck, I'm in. I'm definitely in for that.
Yeah.
There are environments where virtual reality is very useful in procedural stuff where there's not much distances to be covered, like a cockpit, which switches need to be, in which way. That's very good. In the cabin environment, so far, we're definitely not convinced yet that it's.
Mark, this is one of the places which has defied technology, in my view. I've not seen many places doing that, but you do it really well.
Yeah.
And what sits at the heart of your facilities, as you're describing very well with those three H's, the head, the heart, and the hand, is that ability to connect all these three things together. It's not operating in three separate zones. You're able to bring those things together.
Yeah.
How important it is that you think bringing these aspects together when you're developing someone. In other words, what is your true definition of development?
Development, it's very simple, Imran. We're transforming.
It's transformation, yeah.
We're transforming. We're not uploading information into a brain, and then we're transforming a person. It's the skills, it's the attitude, and obviously the knowledge part is that. But it's taking them from one level to another level.
And that transformation basically happens when your behavior changes, and that is the change that's internal, not external. It's an
absolutely and behavioral change behavioral change is such a it's very difficult to do. Done correctly, yes, you can. It's not a magic potion. It doesn't have endless powers. But you achieve so much more than other.
And I remember,
approaches.
Mark, you saying it's not about the facilities that we have. It's actually about facilitation. It's actually about how you're connecting with them and how you're implementing them to do the task.
Well, the facilities is just one part of it. But it's again, when it comes to facilitation, yes, you have the tools, but you have to have the right trainers, and you have to have a holistic concept of what you're going to do. Bearing in mind, why are we doing this? At the end of the day, we're doing this to make those that come to our facility successful, and hopefully taking that information to the actual line operations out in the wild. where it's relevant.
Can I just say, so I'm absolutely convinced it's transformational. I feel transformed actually. I'm sure Imran does as well. But in terms of measuring success, measuring outcome, is there like an exam that they have to do? How do you know you've been successful? I mean, I can feel it, but how, there must be a way of measuring success.
So this is a very good question, and the honest answer to that is I can't actually measure it because I would need to measure it on the front line.
Right.
What I can do, and it's a flawed approach, so you need to look at it with a pinch of salt, is the trainee feedback that we get. Mm-hmm. So over the couple of thousand people that we train, we're rated at 99.3% as excellent, and for torture and punishment, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
What is the average though in comparison to the rest of the training program?
You see that this again, it's very difficult to. We don't know.
Yeah.
What I can say is, if you look in the comment section of our trainee feedback, which is it's not compulsory, it's
voluntary.
It's voluntary, but it's when you get the comments of, I've been flying for 30 years and this is by far the best training that we've done. That's a pat on the back, which is nice to have. So the comment section wasn't actually there for the pat on the back. It was to see how we could improve. But we do.
I can see though there is a limiting factor here, and it is capacity. So if we look at industry data, we can see that we're flying more, and there is a demand for training. And so this is brilliant, but you can only train so much. There's kind of a fixed number. And incorporating technologies like augmented reality, and I know you're not fond of it yet, but is there a need to be more flexible if there is a demand? For more.
Okay. Now, I'll try not to get shot by my industry peers here. Yes, you are absolutely right that it does make it easier to train more people. However, I always, again, is the outcome the same? Mm-hmm. You might be covering the topics, but I really, really do question it. So is it more of a convenience, or is it better training? I doubt that it's better training. Gives me one other option. It's actually more convenient. It means that I can carry out more training.
But Mark, do you know what you're saying? You're saying crews that have been trained on this kind of PowerPoint or the classroom type of old style classroom are just not fit. They're not fit enough. And if there was an emergency, you would question if they can do their job because they've never actually felt or been put in.
Well, look, we have 150 customers from many different parts of the world. Mm-hmm. The UAE has got some of the best training infrastructure worldwide. It's got fantastic training infrastructure. However, some countries are not so lucky. They don't have very good training infrastructure.
Maybe they don't want to invest. Probably
they maybe don't want to or couldn't, or there's. I can't judge that, but they just don't have very good training infrastructure. Let's leave it at that. And when you come into a scenario-based training environment and somebody looks at you and you're going through an actual scenario, they look at you, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Then you kind of get the idea that, well, the classroom training, the theoretical part of it doesn't actually work when you get to an actual scenario.
It's a failed system, I suppose, or a failed
flawed
approach.
Let's say it's got serious limitations.
Yeah. So, Mark, I'm particularly allergic to this one word, which is training. And
yes.
We had that discussion before as well.
Me too.
Because what you are doing over here is, it's a skills repetition, but it's much beyond that. It's the context. It's the reality that you're bringing on board, which is developing true capability. And what Malak is saying, the differentiator is that with a PowerPoint, you cannot bring the capability. You cannot bring the context. And therefore, they would know the what, but they would not know the how.
The how, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is, in my view, that is your sweet spot.
That is exactly. And yes, we talked about training, and it's a terrible word actually.
Yeah.
It's not per se a terrible word, but it really annoys me because there's not really many other words to use. But yes, it's about the capability. It's absolutely that. Yeah, it's the application of knowledge. It's not just.
It is the ability translated to skills, translated to knowledge.
It's much more than that.
It's much more
It's
than
much
that.
more than
Absolutely.
that. It's not just, and it's not just an individual as well. You're looking at, in aviation, you're looking at systems as well. Yeah. So yes, there's an individual skill, obviously, but you're working together as a team as well. So it's not just the individual that you're training. You're training a group of people who will get onto the next flight and will be an entirely different group of people. Yeah. It's not your I don't know, tennis partner that you play with every week, so you know exactly. So it's tricky.
So you have the facilities,
Yeah.
and what about the instructors? Do the instructors go through special training?
Yes.
Special
Yeah.
learning?
Yeah. So
curves?
they once they've been through their training, they get a pair of red underpants that they wear on the outside and a cape with a big S on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now, do you
Superman
train
and Superwoman.
differently then, the instructors, or
No,
is it,
the idea behind it is and it's to come in as an instructor. First of all, even if you're a subject matter expert, that might not make you a great facilitator. You know, facilitation is the skill of training somebody. It's an art. I'm not an instructor, and I wouldn't be a terribly good one, even if I
you were
chose
very
to
good,
be
actually.
one. Well, but it's not really it's not what I think I'm really competent or capable at, or would want to even do that. I've got other things that interest me and keep me busy. But if you take the instructors that train at Dynamic, they go through a process. So first of all, were you a flight attendant for 2 years, at least a minimum? What other qualifications have you got, et cetera, et cetera? Are you a people's person? Because you're speaking to people from all the different cultures on this planet, and they have different learning preferences. And then
does culture come into
absolutely
education?
Absolutely, there's big differences in the way you approach a Far Eastern culture, or let's say a more Arabic culture, or a Western European culture, or there's very big differences in the way that
and
you...
any specific differences you can highlight? So for
look,
example, you're training somebody from Japan and someone from the Gulf countries. What would you do differently?
Me?
Based on culture.
I'm not an instructor.
What would your instructors do differently?
Those two cultures have also very different understandings of
How they
for
take
example,
instructions
losing
or-
face or taking instruction or taking
Yeah.
information on board. We like to make our training fun. If you make a wrong comment in the wrong culture, it could be
True.
unfortunately offensive. Not
Yes,
meant to be,
I see.
but and then you lose a bit of traction there, and you have
True.
to set it up. But there are so many differences in cultures.
The
yeah?
thing
And
is that this is so nuanced that people miss it out.
It-
And it is terrible to miss that out. You can't do that. It's actually the last mile that counts.
well, it's the most tricky bit.
Yes,
It's the last 100
mile.
meters in a
Yes,
1,000-meter race
absolutely,
that can make all the difference.
That would make the difference.
So coming back to it, the instructors, our instructors, need to go through. They go through our own internal training process, and now, till they get released by our training director and training manager, who's our training director, is also our accountable manager. But it does take a long time, and for me, it can drive me a little bit insane sometimes, because I've got sort of a demand.
Yes, and
You
you
need another
them.
instructor.
Yeah.
The instructor is not ready.
Mm.
I'll never question that. The instructor isn't ready. The instructor isn't ready. Or they go through recurrent training and they do an internal train the trainer. It means that we go offline. We're not able to give them any training, because we're doing our own training in-house. And because even though we believe we know that we're actually quite good, we can always be better.
Can I ask how competitive your prices are, or are you kind of at the dearer end of training?
I don't know actually how competitive our prices are.
I can vouch for that, because I'm your client as well.
Really?
I believe
Yeah.
that it's one of the best prices.
Yeah.
You would feel like that it would cost you a fortune to
Mm.
train your executives here. It's not like that.
Yeah.
We work in this industry and we found the prices really competitive. really competitive. I don't know how you do it, because that was my immediate comment to Hilda, that how is it possible?
No, look, to be perfectly honest, we don't actually look at so we only compete on quality. We don't look at what other people are charging. We know there are other countries where it's much, much cheaper. We don't even know in the UAE what other training centers. I don't care.
But you don't care. That's actually very, I would say, I don't know if I can say strange from a business side, because in business,
yeah,
it's very focused on increasing profit margins, making the operations more efficient.
But once you've
and you don't care about profit.
No, we do care about profit, but we're creating value, and profit will follow.
I think and correct me if that's wrong, Mark. In economics, there's a principle that you're leading by value, and I think what I have seen over here is it's created such a long leap that it's left the competition by miles, and it's kind of a blue ocean, and for them, it's actually about the repetition business. It's the volume, and that's the only sense-making thing that I can think of, because the prices, if you see, you'll be surprised to see that.
But it's
actually the volume, and the industry is huge, So, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
A lot of my customers still complain about the price, but
they still.
But I think you do train on volume. It's a big batches.
It is a volume game at the end of the day, anyway. But you mentioned it earlier on in another question. You said it's like an industrial. Just because it's industrial or just because there's a high throughput doesn't mean that the quality must be bad.
Yes.
It all depends on the mindset and the setup of the way the system is designed. And what you want to achieve. So even if you do have high throughput, if you're unbending on certain principles, you can still achieve the quality that you want to.
But there is a lot of investment required for this whole setup. This multi-million-pound.
I think there's passion.
I think it's not just the investment.
Setup.
You see, I often claim that one of my most important employees are our cleaners. Yeah.
Cleaners.
It's a cleaner. Absolutely, because the cleaner sets the standard.
Very true.
If it's clean, right, that's our starting point, and then we build up from there. So for me, the cleaner is
you
is
value
the most
everyone
important.
in your.
100%. Everybody has it's a team.
Value.
It's a team effort, and everybody has different jobs to do, and then the individual won't shy away from doing something else. Nobody would say, here, that's not my job.
Mark, my final question to you is, how translatable are these skills that are taught in these flying classrooms? Do you think there is application beyond aviation to these capabilities and skills?
Absolutely. Regardless of what industry you're in, at the end of the day, if you're looking at a business, it's probably not just one person. So it's, possibly two people. And then as soon as there's two people, there's interaction between two people, which is what you have in an aircraft as well. So you're taking the environment, it might be an aviation environment, but the relevance and translating that to a different field is absolutely possible.
Mark, can you share any story that remains in your as a top one based on the experience of interaction that you had with so many groups? The other day I was talking to Bilal, and he said, I've met with more nationalities than you'll meet in hell.
That's a good question.
In which way special?
Any story or anything that really remains an interaction that was kind of game changing or changed the perspective?
Oh God, there's so many. But I'm not sure if they're amazing. But what I like, I mean, this is when word of mouth travels, and you're somewhere in a training center, in our training center somewhere, and somebody comes up to you and goes, "Hey, Mark, my name is so and so. I'm a friend of so and so who's told me because of somebody else, and that we've come in," and you're like, aviation is so small.
It is very small.
It's
very
unbelievably small. There's many.
The word of mouth travels very quickly. It's a small community.
It is. look, there's so many people in aviation, and there's so many different fields as well. I mean, you've got air traffic control, you've got maintenance, repair, and overhaul, you've got airworthiness departments, and you've got all the normal HR, marketing, legal, and everything. I mean, it's an ecosystem, but yet it's still quite small. You sort of tend to cross paths with people that you've met somewhere over, I don't know, Geneva.
True.
Yeah, and then you cross paths again, and you're like, hey, what are you doing here? So yeah.
Mark, thank you very much for your time today. We
Thank you.
have been amazed seeing these beautiful giant machines, the real life simulators, and we truly hope that we can bring some of our clients to your facilities and they can get to experience these beautiful toys.
Absolutely. I think what's clear today is volume does not equate to capability, and quality of outcome is vital.
Yeah, it's designed. It's designed. It's like a mistake. If you make a mistake twice, that's by design. Yeah, but if you design it for a quality outcome, and you follow that, then the likelihood and the chances of achieving that are there.
We look forward to
possible.
seeing you again, Mark, with some more hustle and bustle in this place,
Well,
bringing
we
some
look
people
forward to
to
welcoming
you.
you.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. Thank you,
Thank you
Mark.
very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.